Hello everyone and welcome to another lockdown interview. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Alexandar Richardson of Alpecin Fenix. Alexandar's story of becoming a pro is truly unique and a true testament to his determination and drive as a person, as he only began racing back in 2015, aged 25. He subsequently rode for the British Continental teams Pedal Heaven, Bike Channel Canyon and One Pro Cycling. In 2018, he grabbed headlines in the UK when he won the famous one-day race, the Lincoln Grand Prix, as an independent rider after attacking off the front and soloing alone across the finish. In 2019, riding for HP Iceberg, he demonstrated his tremendous ability on the bike as he won a number of pro cremesses in Belgium, which included World Tour opposition. He also did well in some UCI races. He won Arnaud Vallard Memorial one-day race, as well as stage 3 of the Tour de la Mirabelle. On the back of this successful year, Alex signed with pro continental team Alpecin Fenix, which will definitely be a new challenge for the Brit. Lots to discuss, so without further ado, here is the interview with Alexandar Richardson.
Hi Alex, how are you and whereabouts are you right now?
Hi, I am Alex, of course, and I'm in Livigno at the moment, just doing an altitude camp with a couple of teammates. We have a couple of teammates here. I came from a team camp, but this isn't a team camp per se. It's just some of the riders wanting to come up to altitude and do some training and before what's effectively the start of the season.
How are you kind of keeping fit before that?
Well, cycling for me is, I guess it's my passion as it is most people, but keeping fit was not really an issue for me because I really just love cycling. So I always enjoy pushing myself and that kind of thing. But yeah, we have a team plan and we follow that, and then we're welcome to add in a couple of things as we feel, I guess.
So this is your first year on the Pro Conti team. We'll get on to your very interesting story. But how has it been stepping up to Pro Continental, and also what's kind of your goals for this season?
I guess that's a good question, and it's yet to be realized because we haven't raced obviously with what's going on globally with the coronavirus. So yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to get going, but and that seems as if it's going to be August the 1st, and then I've got right through to the 21st of October. It's a good 10 weeks of racing. And yeah, we'll take it race by race. I've looked into the races and the courses and that kind of thing. So I'm certainly excited to challenge myself and keep continuing the journey. I'm certainly motivated to do so.
Is there any race in particular that you're looking forward to race this year?
All of them. I've got a lot of kind of intermediate level races, which is a really good thing, given it's my first year. The goals have always got to be tangible in terms of keeping development going. So the team's done a really good job in terms of that, and I will perform as best as I can for the team and myself, I guess. If and when opportunities arise for other people, we'll do our best to help the collective goal.
What's it been like, kind of the infrastructure change from going from a Conti team? You were with Tim Elverson's Canyon HP Iceberg last year, and then now going to, effectively what is still a new team, I guess.
It is. I think Tim's team is fantastic for what it is. And what I mean by that is they do a brilliant job of pulling everyone together and getting the most out of people on limited resources. With obviously Alpecin Fenix, it's a completely different ballgame because the team budget and organization and staff that are full-time employed to put everything together makes the whole experience completely different. But yeah, of course, it's more professional and all of those things. But ultimately, it comes down to the athlete and how motivated they are to push themselves. This is almost easier because a lot of things kind of, certainly for me, I'm used to doing things myself and having to push, etc. When things are done for you, it's obviously really nice and unexpected almost.
Have you trained with Mathieu van der Poel at all, or since you've already had a training camp?
Yeah, we've done a few camps. Yeah, what can I say about him is, firstly, he's a really lovely person, and like everyone else, typically loves riding their bike. He's just this, incredible athlete, and his elasticity is like something I've never seen before. But and I really wish him all the success because he truly deserves it. He works hard, and yeah, he's one of those people that you want to win. He's not the guy that's really good that you don't want to win, kind of thing. There are some out there for sure.
Will you be supporting him in any races in this season?
I'm not sure exactly what races he's in that I'm doing. He will, given the limited time frame of the races, he'll be targeting quite a few of the high level races. Like I say, I'm doing more intermediate level developmental races, 2.1s, 1.HC races, 1.pro races, but then he's really targeting the top classics and that kind of thing. So in response to that, before the end of the year, probably not that many, but certainly next year, I would expect that our paths and programs may cross a little more.
Is there any race that you're looking at, well, next year, where you'll be like maybe Paris-Roubaix or Tour of Flanders or something like that you want to?
Well, initially this year I was in for Ghent-Wevelgem. That would have been a good race, but I completely understand the team's decision when the calendar is so limited and they do need to deliver. They're going to put people in who they know have current experience at that level and have been doing it for years and years, rather than trying new things. For sure, in the next years, you'll see me at those races, or at least I certainly hope so.
So yeah, you came from Canyon DHB Iceberg. Last year, you actually had a really good. Well, you kind of broke through when you won Lincoln Grand Prix in 2018. Well, if we talk about that first, what was that year like for you? Because you started with One Pro Cycling, and then you went independent, and then you won Lincoln Grand Prix, being an independent rider, which was truly amazing.
Yeah, so when I won that, it kind of made me really believe that I could go further in the sport or whatever, rather than kind of dreaming about it. I know it's not in professional terms a big race, but certainly in the UK, it's a race with a lot of history and everyone wants to win it. And then, yeah, of course, doing it in black kit was, as a maverick or whatever, was a great feeling at the time and super fun. I did start the year with One Pro Cycling, but again, having just done it for 2 years, and I was certainly super full gas in my approach to everything. And I was like, right, the more the better. And I ended up running myself into a massive hole, pushing my weight too far, and overtraining effectively. So I kind of felt that if I was to continue on this journey, that I would need to develop and learn to enjoy the sport, which subsequently I did and have done since. I think when it gets too miserable, then you have to enjoy it. A happy athlete is a good athlete, and that for sure is true.
So yeah, how you started cycling was quite extraordinary, because you started quite late in traditional terms, and you had a career in the financial sector, and then how did you kind of transition to going from having a nice job and then thinking, oh, you know what, I'm going to be a professional cyclist?
Yes, I worked for 7 years before. Again, always I was very committed in what I did, but I couldn't bear seeing myself. Well, I didn't have any other passion to follow, so you got to commit to what you're reasonably good at, and what you're doing, with your time. I think anything you do, you have to commit fully to it. Otherwise, you will just become average. And unfortunately, in this world, it's for average. But I saw it, and then going on to the cycling, I saw people going in London around Richmond Park on these nice fancy bikes, and I thought, all right, I'll go and buy one and have a go. I reckon I can have a good go at that. I'm pretty fit. I've always kept myself fit. And grew obsessed with it, and then a friend of mine convinced me to go racing, like a local criterium, and I had the most fun I've ever had. And then since then, I was literally the following morning, waking up early before work, doing a couple of hours, 2-3 hours or whatever, and just a wreck at work. Anyway, we had our second baby, A couple of 2-3 months later, I'd had some success in like 3-hour races, national races in the UK, low level national races in the UK. And I thought, right, I'm going to go full gas at this. And here we are now. And things led to another. But I've been in sport as long as I enjoy it and as long as I keep progressing. Once you start to plateau or become bogged down or not believe in going forward, then yeah, do something else and try and succeed else. But I know I don't feel I'm anywhere near that yet.
How did you kind of get to that level? Because yeah, in the video that's viral with you, well, that went viral, you were using oxygen tents as well. Was that something that you quite early on made a decision on, that like looking for the next?
That was like the next game, but I hadn't used one before Lincoln, for example. I got to a good level just purely by hard work and doing a lot of cycling and making sure that when I went out on my bike, I hurt myself. I probably did too much of that to the point I could have got more out of myself had I done less. But then you build an engine that way as well. And I seem to have developed a reasonable engine, which is still developing. So I'm super interested in physiology and the scientific side of the sport. So yeah, that's that. I'm motivated to train and develop as a human being. Before I started cycling, actually, which I hadn't mentioned is someone in the office set me a challenge. This was literally 2-3 months before I started racing. They sent me a challenge to run a 3-hour marathon, and this probably instilled something in my brain that thought I can suffer or whatever, or enjoyed suffering. But they set me a goal. I said, yeah, of course I can run a 3-hour marathon. What are you on about? This was 6 weeks before the London Marathon, and I ran 2:59:58. I was like hung onto the pace. I was dropped quite a few times, but I never suffered like that before, even in like, you know, whatever 10-20 minute 5-minute tests you do in cycling, like that took me a while to recover from. And yeah, it made me, it gave me this feeling that I really enjoy suffering and challenging myself physically.
Do you have a background in running?
No, I didn't, but I can tell you that shortly after taking that up, like I did 20 minutes on the bike at 280 maybe, but I've spoken, you know, with a coach, Steve Benton, that I had in the past, and he said the reason I was able to do that is because I have like an aerobic base from tennis when I was younger. I played high level tennis up till 16, 17, when I developed a stress fracture in my back. I've also maintained fitness throughout my 20s. Early 20s. Biomechanically, I'm quite suited to running as well. So I can run fast for relatively low cost, fairly efficient. I hope I'm similar in cycling.
So in One Pro Cycling, I think you also you were playing around with your nutrition as well, and you took it too far. Is that correct? Yeah. And how did you kind of what was your weight beforehand, and what did you kind of get it down to?
So at that time, so in the first two years, so when I ran the marathon, I was like 77 kilos. So I was 25. Then I took up cycling towards the end of my 25th year. I started cycling at probably 76 kilos. Then within a couple of years, I lost 4 kilos, 3 or 4 kilos, so 72, 73. Then at One Pro Cycling, I basically said, right, down, how do you lose weight and sensibly in inverted commas. My Fitness Pal, you can shave off a bit every day, just log everything you eat. So shave a sensible amount off, 500 calories as a ballpark figure. And I just did that until basically there was nothing left. And I went down, I think I did a DEXA scan like 66.5 kilos, but I was pretty energyless, let's say. And I trained it off though. I mean, now I sit somewhere between 71 and 72 kilos. And then I guess at that weight, I've got a full toolbox, certainly at lower level UCI races. Let's see, in the harder ones.
Yeah, because there must be one point where you're losing so much weight that you're actually losing power as well.
Yeah, I think certainly in my experience, you lose a lot of weight and your thresholds still look really good and your power to weight still looks really good. But then you become a bit flat and you lose kind of muscular punch, as it were. and raw brute strength, which you need in bike racing. You need 1 to 5 minute efforts to get into moves and go with the race. And certainly for the races that I have done, you don't really need much more than 1 and 5 minute power. You don't really need a 10 or 20 minute power to get to the back end of the race.
So in 2019, last year, you did a number of, you won 2 UCI races, and you did a number of pro cremesses in the Netherlands. Pro cremesses is something people who aren't really involved with cycling don't really understand, because, well, I struggle sometimes as well, because it's not a UCI race, but you were up against world tour level competition.
Quite often, yeah. I mean, you look, they're certainly quite highly contested, and they're fairly well regarded in Belgium. And you do get a lot of pro Conti and world tour riders turn up. So I guess it's a good, if your team doesn't do the races and you have a continental license, it's a great stage to market yourself to foreign teams and the foreign playground and gauge the level, because the level is hard in a pro commesse. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to win 3 of those last year, which started with Omloop het Westland, I think it is pronounced. I managed to ride off with 10k to go in that one, and then Puurwild, which it so happened Corendon were there as well, and Matto was there. Obviously, he's not going to ride away from, maybe he is capable of doing it, dropping 160 riders. But on the day, you know, every time he clicked a gear, there was like 40, 50 guys on his wheel. So I went with a move he just over the top of a move he had tried to create, and I was able to ride off with 20-25 minutes to go in that one. That second one was Puurwild, and then the third one was Zwevzela Course, where that was actually probably there was the most world tour competition there, with like Trek had riders there, Lotto, Quickstep. So that was super satisfying. But comparing these wins to winning Lincoln, or when you weren't quite sure if anything was possible, Lincoln still has the edge for sure. That day was fantastic.
What was the kind of terrain like for the 3 cremesses? I guess they were very different, or were they all similar and similar length as well?
Course has like a drag in it and a bit of, I suppose, a climb. It's super windy. It was super crosswind day, but the others were relatively flat and just fast and you know, hard out of corners, technical. So positioning is key in those races, and yeah, they're just they're super fast races in terms of speed.
What kind of rider do you see yourself as?
I like races where it's fairly grippy, and then there's like an opportunity at the end for a finish on the run-in, attack on the run-in from a smaller group. 10 to 20 riders, I guess, is the optimum size.
So yeah, what was it like for you? Because you also won the Holland Cup. Were you doing something differently that year, or did you just feel like everything was just going your way? Or
I was quite confident, but I won obviously the year before. I couldn't really do those races because I was an individual rider. You can't do UCI races or pro commesses as an individual rider. But it was natural progression. I was winning national races. I probably won 7 or 8 local national races in the UK. So it didn't feel too much difference. But I probably spent more time focusing on optimizing position and this kind of thing, and becoming efficient and developing physically. So I almost feel it was more of a natural progression. I'm a competitor, you know. On the day, if you know, I like to be competitive. I think it's fun. It's fun to be competitive.
Are you still going to be based in the UK this next year, or are you going to base yourself, in Italy where you are now, or in the Netherlands?
No, just in the UK. We've got our kids at school. They go to a school locally, 10 minutes away. I'm certainly flexible, but yeah, my wife and I have 2 children that are at school, and we're all set up there. We're super happy there. The training is good there. We have grippy roads locally, so I'll have exposure to the altitude center if I want to use it, and I'm very close to Belgium where the team is based. So yeah, it seems a happy medium.
So yeah, final few questions while we still have some internet connection.
Yeah.
What has been like the hardest day you've had on a bike in a race that you can remember?
That is a good question. I've been on the back foot plenty of times. I think it's hard when you're not feeling good. For example, at Bessèges at the start of the year, I'd been ill 3 or 4 weeks before that, and I just was quite fatigued. My body was not. It was just tired. I'd obviously trained really hard, and I was super excited about this year with Alpecin. So that was the first race for the team, and subsequently the only race. But yeah, the rest after was almost a bit of a blessing in disguise, because when you're on the back foot, it's never nice. When you feel a little bit out of your depth, that can be for a number of reasons, whether you are actually out of your depth or whether physically you're just not where you should be at that point in time. I think psychologically that's hard, but the nature of the cyclist is he keeps pushing, and he doesn't give up. So of course I didn't, and nor would I consider ever giving up. I'm just not that way inclined. But there are also races where I've been really on the back foot, and also Lincoln, I guess, I felt, it was hard at times in the race, but you get through it, and then everyone else you work out is kind of just as tired, if not maybe more tired. So that's when you got to find those extra couple of percent and keep going.
I mean, asking your worst day, it's only fair enough to ask what's been your best day in a race on a bike, since you've won quite a few races already.
I think the most dominant I felt is Het Waasland in that Pro Commerce at the start of 2019. I rode off with, it was 10k to go, maybe 15 minutes, and I averaged 48, 49k an hour. At the end of the race, it was an awful day, pouring rain, and everyone else was just completely knackered. I great that day, and I rode off for good power in an efficient position. But that was also doing it in Belgium on the continent. It's one thing winning locally in the UK, but then you do it against decent riders who have been doing it since they were young. And you think, oh God, maybe I can do this, So yeah, well, look, I'm living the dream, and what better place to do it than this team? They're fantastic in terms of support, fantastic in terms of attention to detail, whether that's diet, nutrition, general knowledge, equipment, and they're the type of people, the Rudolph brothers, also the coaching staff, Christoph and Axel, they do believe anything is possible. They're those type of people. They're not the type to go, oh, dictates this, so we must do it like that. No, they're fully open-minded, which is a breath of fresh air in cycling from my early experiences, let's say. But I will only ever surround myself in life with people that conduct themselves in a positive manner and are open-minded and positive. I think if you surround yourself with negative or non-starters, then you will become one of them. So I'm very conscious of that in my day-to-day life, and certainly in my cycling life. And hey, yeah, I'm absolutely loving it.
Well, that quite neatly wraps up this interview. Thank you very much, Alex, for an extraordinary interview. And I hope you also get a lot of free shampoo as well, since Alpecin is one of your sponsors.
Yes, yeah, no, they were super kind, and they sent us a whole box of stuff. So, and as you'll see, I look like a bit of a thug at the moment. I shaved my head in the lockdown because I couldn't get a haircut. So I lost it. No, I can see. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you look a little bit like a hedgehog at the moment.
I've heard Hobo as well. Thanks, Mom.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
All right, thanks very much. I'll drop all your
thanks so much.
Social media down below, and I'm so excited to see you in this calendar, and I wish you all the best of luck.
No, thanks so much, Scott, and I really appreciate that. And like I said, I've seen plenty of your interviews, and I think you're doing great work. And keep going with that. And our paths, I have no doubt, will cross in the future.
Definitely.
Cool. Right, thanks.
That's it for this lockdown interview with Alexandar Richardson. Make sure to check out his Instagram in the description down below. And if you're new here, why not subscribe to not miss out on any upcoming videos? And if you haven't already, why not check out the interview with Canyon DHB boss Tim Elverson or fellow British pro Harry Tanfield of AG2R. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.